So the basic function of the Blackhawk Serpa CQC holster is as follows. There's a spring-loaded lever here that has a hook that's engaging with the trigger guard of the holstered weapon, and that's locking it in a holster. Then you have that push button area, and you have to push down on this with your trigger finger so that this hook is disengaging with the trigger guard and you can pull the gun from the holster. The gun automatically locked into place. You push down on that button area, that hook is disengaging with the trigger guard, and you can pull the gun. Simple as that. There is one intentional feature though. That lever has some longitudinal play here. And that hook that's engaging with the trigger guard has on the rear side some slight undercut, and that is engaging with the holster in a certain scenario. If you try to force the gun out of the holster, just pulling it, that undercut area is engaging with the holster and preventing that lever from being forced out of the locked position. But it cannot happen. You can pull as much as you want. It does not snap out of the engaged position. But that also means if you first pull the gun and then try to push that button, it's locked. And that's what a 2012 report of Homeland Security about some unintentional discharges with that type of holster is calling a sequencing error. If you grab the gun firmly, push down, pull it, everything is fine. If you grab it, when I get it out of there under stress, I have to pull my gun fast, quickly, and then try to push it down. It does not happen. And then you try to wiggle, and then your trigger finger ends up, it's not supposed to be, on the trigger. And that's how these unintentional discharges happen. So how about this? We'll do it slow now. There's a part that's engaging with the trigger guard. There's the push button area for the trigger finger. You push that one down, pull the gun about 5 mm, 1/5 of an inch, and then you cannot continue to pull the gun. You have to release pressure from that surface, and then you can continue to draw the gun. Once again, push down, pull, locked, release, pull it out of the holster. So that actually should solve that issue, because the trigger finger is forced to move away from the gun and thus away from the trigger. But sadly, it does not work as intended, because you cannot trick out human reflexes. Because in the previous situation, it's the same. You apply force, apply even more force, then that sudden release of the gun from the holster, and you got the trigger finger is exactly where it's not supposed to be. So my conclusion is, you cannot trick out human reflexes that have developed over thousands of years. It simply does not work. And so all these trigger finger actuated holsters, in my opinion, are not stress safe. So that's the final design I came up with. You apply pressure to that surface here in that direction, and that's disengaging the gun from the holster. It has nothing to do with your trigger finger. You just naturally grab the gun and it's released from the holster. This is actually the original, still the original lever, just the trigger finger button area removed, some aluminum block added, but this is just a prototype. In a factory design, that would be one solid plastic part, that would be another solid plastic part, access pin here, spring, and done. That's just the same design, but left-hand version. It looks a little bit different, but it's just me, because it was too boring to build exactly the same thing for the second time. So it looks a little bit different, same principle. That's for my EDC. And since I'm not a big fan of these plastic holster attachment thingies, I just bolted it directly to the belt here. The crossbar here puts the holster very nicely, tightly fitted to the body, and works for me. There's one final aspect with all safety holsters that have some sort of push button area that you have to push towards the gun or towards the holster. Because if there's getting dirt, debris, snow, ice, whatever under there, it can block that lever. So you cannot push it down anymore, and then you don't get the gun out of the holster. Does not happen here because that area is not there anymore, and there are no other surfaces that are moving towards each other where anything could get jammed in between.